you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Doing well. Busy week in the political world this week.
Yeah, we had caucus, which
Caucus.
may or may not have a winner.
Yep.
Our president got acquitted of crimes that he
Woohoo!
committed,
Yeah,
and we
baby.
had a debate and a State of the Union too.
Yep.
So
Yep. That's true. I forgot about the State of the Union.
exactly.
Dang. And then we have
Nancy ripped up the speech.
oh yeah, super effective move on her part. I
Yeah.
don't I don't know who that works for. I mean, maybe it works for a subset of. She doesn't have a huge following though, so I don't know who that's for.
Ah, she's just.
Maybe
I
she
mean,
does.
among liberals,
Does she?
hardcore. I don't. I go back and forth with her. I mean,
I've never really followed any of her stuff. She just kind of looks like she's mad all the time to me.
she's just been a congresswoman from San Francisco for forever. I mean,
Yeah, she looks like she has been.
whoa, 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 whoa. That's sexist
No, she's old. She looks
and
old.
ageist.
I'm totally fine with being ageist.
Okay,
Pointing
all
out
right.
age is not a problem.
Okay, all right. Well, we like Bernie Sanders, and he's a million.
Yeah, and he's about to die. He'll probably die his first term.
Yeah, I know. That's the worst part.
He's gonna finish his first term. Whoever his VP is his next president.
Yeah, that's true. That's gonna be a very important pick.
No, I'm joking.
Well,
I don't know much about Nancy, so I have
did
to
you
put
see?
I do
Did
know.
you see where Trump? So she goes to shake his hand, and he's kind of already turned, and he doesn't shake her hand. Do you think he ignored her, or he didn't see it?
I don't know. Here's my thing. He would totally ignore her.
Yes.
So I don't care if he did one way or the other. Based on the video, it looks like he just didn't. He was already kind of in momentum turning, and it would have been weird to turn back around and shake her hand. So easily could just be like a bad timing type of scenario.
Yeah,
But
that's what I think. We'll give him some credit.
yeah, but I also don't think he would ever be incapable of looking at her in the eye and not
No.
shaking her hand. Like that's
No,
totally
yeah,
possible.
that's something he would do for sure.
Yeah, so kick us off with the beer of the week, then we'll get into all this news stuff.
So I was struggling, and then I was in Total Wine, which is where I
Oh,
usually buy it.
there we go.
And I was like, I don't know, like what really the theme of this week. And then I saw it, a brewery from Iowa called the Iowa
Wow,
Brewing Company.
dang,
They
dang,
had, so I guess it's called Iowa Eagle American Lager.
dang, dude.
So
How many
it's
did you
like
buy?
Iowa Bud Light. Just so they sell it in like the 4 packs.
Okay, you didn't drink all
So
four
like,
yet, did you?
no, I haven't had it yet.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
mean,
Well,
it's basically like Miller Lite, Bud Light, but home, craft.
yeah, I want to try it
So
still. You have to
that
bring one
lager
tonight for the
deal.
fight.
All right, I'll bring. Well, I might not be still there. They might be all going by tonight, but
Oh God,
no,
alcoholic.
I'm joking.
Jeez.
That's
You're
true.
definitely not
Let's
joking.
not talk about beer. Iowa
Yeah,
Eagle,
Iowa
not an
Eagle.
alcoholic. So we should
Cool.
start with Iowa. It happened first. We can just go chronologically, honestly.
Yeah, that's actually great. So we'll start with Iowa. Well, it's not finished yet, so
That's
chronologically speaking,
true.
how do we decide? We'll just go with Iowa. It would happen on Tuesday, and it's still in process.
So I'm watching it as it's going on, and I'm like, and they're like, oh, the results are relayed, and then it's like we had all the results at this time
Yeah.
4 years ago, and then the Iowa Democratic Party's like, not happening. We're doing quality checks. It sounds like they tried to use an app and it didn't work. I don't think it was hacked. I think it was just incompetence,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
not a
For
good look.
people that don't follow politics very much, basically, Iowa is always the first state to kick off the voting portion. It's a caucus, so it's very different than most states' voting process. But not to go too deep into that, they voted on Tuesday, and probably every single prior election there's ever been where they voted, you kind of have the results by that same night, worst case scenario the next morning, or at least by, 3 a.m. It's within, relatively 12 to 24 hours of the actual day, 100% of the time, except for this last one, is they apparently designed this app that they used to report a lot of the results from all the different precincts, and it wasn't letting the area captains report their results, so they had to call in, but then everyone was calling in, so there's a lot of wait times, and there was just a lot of issues that popped up because of lack of just really incompetent around technology and how it works and preparation for it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I guess they didn't really try to get they tried to roll it out like 2 months before the caucus, and it was just a disaster. And then people were reporting the results on Twitter. It was just a mess.
Yeah. Yeah, and it
So
gets
Pete got 26.2% of the delegates. Bernie got 26.1. So a virtual tie. Bernie won the popular vote by like 2,000 votes.
yeah. So a couple things. One, so there's still like a couple precincts that haven't been counted. So it's like 99% right now. There's something I was reading
Yeah.
about how there's still a little bit more that comes in. So it could end up to be where they both have like a basic tie on the delegate point. Bernie won the popular vote by 6,000 votes if you count. I think the way they were doing that. So they've never done this before. And I don't want to get too lost into this, but the way Iowa does things is, let's say you have 100 people in a room, right? And each person has to go to the corner that their candidate that they support is in. So if you Pete Buttigieg, you go in one corner. If you're Bernie, another, Biden, Klobuchar, whatever, you go to the respective corner. They tally it up, and if any candidate does not have at least 15% of the room in their corner, then that candidate gets eliminated from being able to be voted for, and the people that were in that corner have to choose a different candidate, right?
Yes.
So
Well, they can go home, or they can choose.
Or they can
candidate.
go home. Yeah, they choose a different candidate, go home, or they can be undecided, I guess. Which, good luck with that.
Yeah.
But so Bernie Sanders' campaign pushed for the Iowa to tally how many people's first choice were which candidate, and then how many realigned the second time, and then what was the final tally at the end. They wanted it more detailed, whereas Iowa's never done it that way. And so I think if you add up the amount of people that went to Bernie, the plus amount in the first round and the plus amount in the second round, it ended up being like he won 6,000 more votes. It's kind of hard to do the math, but he definitely, regardless of what math you want to do, he won the popular vote for sure in Iowa. The delegate issue, there's some shady stuff happening around with that, but it's still, undetermined at this point. So I think calling it a tie is probably pretty accurate.
Yeah, so a virtual tie. So throwing aside, no one's really talked about this too much, to be honest. I think it got lost in the shuffle of the week. But throwing aside the results, Pete and Bernie tie. So, let's talk about that. Elizabeth Warren comes in third, pretty far away, and then Joe Biden, a distant fourth.
Dude, almost got beat by Klobuchar.
Him and Klobuchar actually were as close as Pete and Bernie, to be honest.
It was, if my memory serves me, it was like 2%. It was really, really close. Very close. It's crazy. It's insane. So, no one expected that for Biden to do so bad. It was actually a really, really bad sign.
He shook up his campaign leadership, I think, yesterday in response to that. And he said, I don't know if you caught this in the debate, he basically said he was expecting to get his ass kicked in New Hampshire, too.
I totally heard that. Within like the first 30 seconds, he's in New Hampshire. Yeah, I'm probably going to lose with you guys, too.
I'm like, Uncle Joe, come on.
Dude, let's go.
So,
which is true,
I wonder he's right. Not something you should say. So I was reading some analysis about this, and it said that Biden is running ads narrated by Barack Obama. And I couldn't find any. And I don't know if he's using past speeches from Obama or if Obama went out and narrated ads for him.
Oh, wait. Obama wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I don't think he would. So I think it has to be past clips.
It's because he's losing some of the African-American support. He started super high, and then Bernie cut into it, and now Tom Steyer's cutting into it in South Carolina. And so I guarantee you he's trying to use Obama as some type of fail-safe for securing that black vote more. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. He's fallen a lot quicker than I was actually expecting in terms of polling and whatnot, because it hasn't been too kind to him.
Yeah, that's got to be it. So, desperate times, desperate measures.
Yeah, I think almost, if you look at like 538 after the Iowa result came out, they were like, man, Bernie has like a 50% chance of winning the nomination. It's like a 30% chance no one wins the nomination, and it's like a split convention. And then it's like a 15% chance Joe wins it. And I'm roughly going off this in memory. I could have had him off by a little bit. But the point is that Bernie surged in most people's projections after winning Iowa, mainly because of how bad Biden did more than anything. It was kind of crazy.
Right. And so now I don't know what's going to happen. So Bernie might win New Hampshire. He might win Nevada. Maybe Biden will win South Carolina. Tom Steyer's actually
Yeah,
surging a little
surprisingly.
bit in Nevada and South Carolina. Yeah, he's got a lot of money.
Yeah,
And
that's
you
true.
got Bloomberg on the back end as well. So
Yeah, it's funny to me because it's like, so for people that follow politics, there's like a civil war within the Democratic Party right now between the moderate lane and the progressive lane. That's kind of the divide, which is, I guess, it's normally kind of like that, but this is by far the most polarizing one, I would say, in recent memory between the actual progressive versus an actual moderate. Usually it's moderates trying to out progressive one another, but they're not even really that progressive in the first place. And so what's interesting though is the oh shoot, what did you just say? I lost my train of thought with
Dyer,
Bloomberg. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So you have all these moderate candidates kind of coming in trying to stop Bernie's momentum, like Bloomberg. I think that's one of the main reasons he actually announced. But it's like, dude, the amount of supporters that Bloomberg gets is not pulling from Bernie at all. It's pulling from like your Biden type people. So I don't think people realize how bad like the Bloombergs of the race and Buttigieg has actually hurt Biden's momentum in this, because those are the voters he's mainly pulling from, in my opinion.
right. Because obviously Bernie's base
Yeah,
is
it's
not
all
gonna go
no,
away.
go for a billionaire. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
there's no shot at that.
That's an oxymoron.
God, yeah. I don't know what the state of the race is. I don't think Biden's going to win the nomination. And we've been saying this all along, so it's kind of
Yeah,
nice
exactly.
to be validated. I
Yeah,
think
no,
we
I
were
mean
right about that.
that's the thing though, is like when you have a candidate who people don't really get behind his ideas, they get behind the idea of him being a stabilizing force or name recognition, and the media is really trying their best to kind of prop him up and whatnot. As soon as he starts, and then the main point that Biden had in his favor was electability. Well, now he's fourth place in Iowa. He's probably going to be fourth place in New Hampshire. There's a strong likelihood he finishes in maybe third or second in Nevada, and then he wins South Carolina potentially. But that's one out of the first four states he won, and so people start to go, electability is not as strong with Biden. And to this point, just to prove what I'm saying is, Buttigieg surprised people by tying with Sanders or slash winning in some ways, because he came in as a newcomer, so it is a victory for him in some sense. And in Iowa, his polling jumped up 8 to 10 points for New Hampshire within a week, and Biden dropped about 5 points within a week within New Hampshire. So I think people are underestimating the lack of support Biden actually has when the winds start to change a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's just holding on to South Carolina, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, what happens if he wins, but it's close? Like, then what?
Dude,
He'll
I
probably
don't
win
know.
it, but does he
See,
drop out?
I don't know. That's what I wanted to kind of talk about was, I don't think he can drop out. But I also don't know how Super Tuesday works in terms of there hasn't been a lot of polling out on it. So maybe he's polling really good in other places that I just don't know about. It's kind of hard to tell, but I doubt it. I
Probably
really doubt
southern
it.
states.
Yeah, southern states, I agree, but not. I mean, how many southern states are on Super Tuesday?
I mean, North Carolina, I
There we go.
think
I would probably
that's
go for
one. Yeah, unfortunately.
him.
I mean,
definitely
California, I think, is also on Super Tuesday. Or
That's
I
Bernie.
believe, I could be wrong. Yeah, Bernie and Steyer are actually spending a lot of money there. Okay.
Yeah.
Super Tuesday states: Alabama, they could go for Biden. Arkansas, California,
tough.
Colorado, Maine, Massachusetts, Minnesota, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, and Virginia. There's a good amount of southern states, but not all of them.
There's a good spread. There's a good spread. Yeah, I don't know then. It'll be interesting, but if he loses 3 of the first 4 states and then going into Super Tuesday doesn't come out strong, to be honest with you, there's no way he gets the nomination, unless the only way I can see this, and this gets really funky because I have no idea how this plays out, is if no one has enough delegates going into the convention to be the clear nominee. I don't know who the super delegates pull out at that point. Can they vote for anyone at that point, or does it have to be one of the nominees that have been like? Does it have to be a front runner, or could they pull a Bloomberg's wild card out of the equation? Like, how does that work? I have no idea.
So nobody wants that situation with a brokered convention, because then it's going to be way worse than 2016. I'm more interested.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think that's going to happen. I think people are going to drop off. I think Biden is almost like Jeb Bush in 2016, where it's so bad, like he had to drop out.
When did
But
Bush drop out?
and I think after the second or third state, because Trump was winning
Uh,
them. Ted Cruz won Iowa actually,
yeah, I
but Trump
saw
came
that. That
close.
which surprised me. Yeah.
But well, I guess I'm kind of jumping back and forth. But with the broker convention at that point,
Yeah.
so I'm just going to read what happened. So once the first ballot or vote has occurred and no candidate has a majority of the delegates' votes, the convention is then considered brokered. Therefore, the nomination is decided through a process of alternating political horse trading,
Oh
which
God.
seems like the delegates can vote for whoever they want after that, which is not a good thing.
Dang. See, and there's no way in hell they vote for Bernie.
No,
There's
that's the
just no
thing.
way.
They wouldn't.
You know what's funny, dude? If it gets, it's guaranteed Trump wins another election if this goes to a
I would
brokered
agree
convention.
with that.
Almost guaranteed.
Because if it goes brokered, they're not going to vote for Bernie. The Bernie
Nope.
supporters won't show up in November, or at least
Nope.
most of them. Some of them might,
Yeah.
but most of them won't.
Yeah.
And you're going to get a nominee that the majority of the party probably doesn't want. I don't think that's going to happen.
I tend to agree with you. I think Bernie will get the nomination. My opinion is that he will get the nomination, and it's going to be chaotic.
Yes, but he's good. I think if he rattles off, so him and Pete tied this week. If he rattles off New Hampshire and Nevada, and does okay in South Carolina, and then cleans up Super Tuesday,
Yeah.
I think the party's going to start to try to stop him, which is not.
See, then what does that look like?
Look.
I don't know. It's a little too late at that point, is it?
Yeah, maybe it is.
Because, like, I know for a fact that Obama said that well, I shouldn't say I know for a fact. There was reporting that was pretty credible about Obama saying that if he thinks Bernie's going to get the nomination, he'll step up and try to, stop it, essentially. But I think that was more like earlier if he thought that. I don't know if you can really step in if you're Obama at the 11th hour and try to do something. Like, there's too much momentum at that point. It's kind of weird.
That also, I think it's easy for Obama. He probably did say something to that effect, but I think it's easy to say that now. But when push comes to shove and it seems clear, or do you want to waste your political capital on that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no,
I think he's
I
smarter
totally
than
that. Just so people know the sources for that, it's a article that was like in November. It was from the HuffPost and the Hill is where I had read that from.
Yeah,
so
I buy the Hill.
It could be inaccurate, but I like the Hill a lot, actually, depending on who the writer is. So I think it's pretty credible.
Yes, depending on the writer.
But yeah, no, I agree. I mean, as of now, it seems to me that Biden will not get the nomination. I don't see that at all. I don't think he's going to clean up on Super Tuesday. I could be completely wrong because I haven't seen very much polling, but it just seems to me like all the momentum's going to be taken out of his sails and his votes are going to be split between Buttigieg and like a Bloomberg type candidate. And Bernie doesn't have anyone really taking his support in large numbers. I mean, it's kind of Warren. When does she drop out, by the way? Like, at what point does she just leave?
So here's the thing. She's just going to hang in there. She came in third, so she does better than Biden. So you think
she'll do the same in New
Biden would have to
Hampshire.
drop out before her? Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
It's
think
weird, man.
Maybe after Super Tuesday she gets knocked out. I think Pete has some staying power, to be honest.
Really interesting. He has 0% African American support, like 0% young people support. I mean, I just don't see him doing well after New Hampshire.
I think because of the donors. Because if Biden drops out, they're still establishing money to be had, right?
That's
not
true.
Gonna Bernie. They need someone. Maybe it's Klobuchar.
They really like Klobuchar, dude. They love Klobuchar, and it's crazy.
I haven't paid that much attention to candidacy. I don't dislike her, but
I just don't know what her like thing is. She just seems to say like, I'm from the Midwest, so I can bring people together, and like it's just kind of weird. I kind of get some of the points she brings up during the debate stage, but I don't see what she's actually advocating for past beating Donald Trump, and that always irritates me. Like, I don't know what policy she had for. It's just annoying.
She also was really going after Pete.
Oh yeah.
Last night.
Yeah, so debate. It was one of the better debates in my opinion, because I want people to kind of come out and take some punches. I don't want it to be all, cutesy the whole time where, oh, we're all better than Trump, so let's just sit here and talk for 3 hours about, various items. It's like, no, why are you better than the people on this stage? Like, that's what you have to, make clear.
Yeah,
so.
And they certainly were trying to show that.
Yeah, they went after Pete hard last night. It's pretty
Pete
interesting,
really
actually.
didn't. Pete's a very good debater. I will say that.
Yeah,
He
he
didn't really
is
get
a
sucked into it.
phenomenal debater. Yeah. No, I agree. He's a good debater. I would say the only issue that well, I shouldn't say only, but the main issue he got trampled with is from the moderator about the racial issues as well. He was a mayor and
Yeah.
the arrest. Dude, he got destroyed with that, in my opinion. It was bad. Because he didn't have an
Yeah,
answer
that's
for it.
been his thing. Now, that and black people don't like him. That's going to be, or maybe don't even know him.
Yeah, I mean, there's a name recognition issue, in my opinion, for sure there, but I also just don't think people know, like, I don't know. I think and I mean, this is just me guessing here, but I feel like the African American community is pretty skeptical of just like politicians that try to come in and get their support only during election time, but weren't really doing anything before that. And that seems like that's exactly who Buttigieg was as he was a mayor. He didn't really do too much from what I've heard, especially with the crime related issues to kind of help out. But now he's running for president. So it's like, oh, please support me, please support me, please support me. And I think that just puts a bad taste in their mouth, and rightfully so, in my opinion. So I don't see that ever changing, to be honest with you, unless Obama comes out and surprise endorses Pete, which would be insane. But I just don't see.
Think Obama. That's not his style.
I agree.
But yeah.
I agree. Well, Iowa, it's still to be determined, but the long story short is it is a tie in my opinion, although there is definite evidence of the DNC kind of manipulating some of the voting. The New York Times and the Associated Press have both said there's too many errors that have been happened with the way that they tallied the votes for them to call a clear winner. So it's definitely kind of a cluster at the end of the day.
Yep. So that's Iowa. What about State of the Union? Is that next?
Yeah, that is next. Did you listen to it? Because honestly, I didn't listen to it at all.
I haven't really watched too much of it, to be honest. Maybe we could spend the least amount of time on this. We obviously Pelosi rips up the speech. That seemed to be the biggest headline.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about that.
I just don't care. I just kind of like, why is this a thing that we care about right now? Like, oh my God. She ripped up the speech.
Premeditated, or she? Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, I saw like the picture where it was like perforated, like how she had torn it a little bit so it'd be easy to tear. I mean, I could have been doctored, honestly. I have no idea, but I was just like, I don't care. There's so many bigger issues for me to care about than the Speaker of the House and the President of the United States having this childlike spat between each other. It's just dumb. I don't care.
Yeah, childlike spat. That's exactly it. And they're going to continue that way. Trump basically touted his economic success and all that. So.
Sure, which is smart. Yeah. I mean, I think he's actually pretty good at delivering State of the Unions in terms of like solidifying his base and re-encouraging them that he's got everything under control. Like he's a pretty good showman in terms of my like personal opinion is he does a lot of stunts at the State of the Unions, like giving Rush Limbaugh the medal of whatever medal he gave him. It was a medal of freedom.
Oh, the Medal of Freedom to Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah, that's a freaking joke. That's an absolute ridiculous thing to do. But it works so well with his base because Rush Limbaugh just announced he had lung cancer that was stage 4, it's serious, and he's kind of a conservative hero for the last 20 to 30 years in terms of a political commentator goes. And so for Trump to do that, man, it solidifies so deeply people's allegiance to Trump. And I don't think people realize how good Trump is at doing stuff to just get that following behind him that will never, ever be swayed. It's really, really interesting.
Yeah. It's, I mean, this is the world we live in, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, it is. But see, that's why I remember reading years ago about how someone said very soon in the near future, the next president is not going to be a politician. It's going to be an entertainer because Americans love the entertainment aspect of stuff. And it causes you to kind of drop your guard down when something's entertaining. You don't use your typical kind of intuition about morals and integrity and character. As long as it's entertaining and you had a laugh, you kind of just don't care. And that's the vein I feel like Trump has filled very, very easily, is this kind of showmanship entertainer. And people are just like, dude, let him do what he's doing. At least he's got America's back. You know, they just don't care at the end of the day. It's really, really weird.
No, so this is more like just to the overall view of America is like the Republicans, or I don't know, Trump supporters, it's his party.
Yeah.
don't care what he does. And we can probably talk about the segues into the impeachment acquittal. That most of the Republican senators are like, yeah, he did it, but he's not. We're going to vote not guilty.
Yeah, what is that about? Did you see like Marco Rubio? There's like 3 or 4 senators that came out. It's like, yeah, of course he did it, but it's too divisive to the country to impeach him. It's like, or to remove him.
Yeah,
I'm like, what in the world?
I don't even know what that means.
I don't either. I was just like, wait, at least deny he did it. Like at least give yourself some room there. Like, my God, man.
So I think this is like the polarization and tribalism of the country, right?
Yeah.
That they can say he's guilty, but they vote not guilty, right? Yeah. And then nothing happens.
And on top of that, with polarization, this is what's insane: is Mitt Romney is the only Republican that voted to remove him. He's stinking so, and Mitt Romney had some good damn reasons, and people, whatever, I won't go down that tangent. But this is what's hilarious: is the moment he did that, the next day, conservative Twitter, because I follow a lot of conservatives on Twitter, conservative news anchors, everyone blew up saying Mitt Romney was a Democrat for doing that,
which he's not. Like,
what? He was the last nominee for your guys' party as president. What in the world universe do we live in where that guy's a Democrat now? Just because he stood up and disagreed with the party. Insane, man.
So I think, but think about this. Mitt Romney's 72. He's been a successful businessman, quote unquote. He inherited his father's business, whatever. Governor of Massachusetts. Yeah. Republican nominee for president, and now a senator, and he's only in like his first year. So he has 6 more years left. Yeah. By the time his term's up, he's going to be 78. He'll probably want to retire. He literally has nothing to lose. So think about it.
Yeah,
it took one Republican senator who has nothing to lose to vote guilty.
Woohoo!
Yeah,
exactly.
And he's still going to face like this huge amount of backlash.
Oh, big time. He's already been uninvited from a couple really big conservative conferences, all for not bending over for King Donald Trump. I mean, it's like, my God, guys, you are such snowflake pansies that if someone doesn't toe the party line the way you want it to do, you act like little children and take your ball home. I swear, man. Bunch of.
So that's just it. Trump has his own party. He took it over.
Yeah.
And now he's pretty much immune. So he's going to go. When is he going to stand on Fifth Avenue and shoot someone? Okay,
dude,
it's time.
It's time. Yeah. I need 10 people lined up and him just shoot one at a time. And I want to see how long it takes for Republicans to actually grow some balls and do something.
They wouldn't. So this brings me back to the bigger question. I asked you this last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. Now Trump's been acquitted. There's no doubt that he fully can do whatever he wants. If he loses in November and he's like, nope, it was rigged, I'm staying. Who's stopping him?
So, I'm not going to lie.
No. Tell me, really.
Dude, I'll be completely honest with you. I was just thinking about this last night. I was like, I can totally see this sequence of events happening. Bernie Sanders gets the nomination. It gets fear-mongering the whole election cycle about he's going to turn us into Venezuelan socialism. It's going to be called what is the president take an oath to do? To defend against terrorism, domestic and abroad.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that. Well, he's the domestic. Bernie Sanders is the domestic terrorist that's threatening to upend our constitutional norms and overturn the greatest country since, sliced bread. And it's going to be all this fear-mongering that happens, and then Bernie Sanders is going to win, and it's probably going to be a pretty close win. And all he has to say is, well, there was tampering with the election. The Democrats rigged this. The Democrats rigged that. I'm not leaving because if I left, it would be at the detriment of the United States. So for the greater good of the people, I'm not going to do anything. And I guarantee you there's going to be a large segment of those of people with rifles and guns and Second Amendment goons that want to come and march on Washington to defend against the socialists. I can totally see that shit happening, man. It's so annoying that that's a scenario that could play out.
The only thing is if Bernie won, number one, he'd have to win in a landslide, and he'd have to somehow win the Senate.
Yeah.
Which won't happen.
Yeah, I don't know what happens at that point other than, and this is where it gets really, really weird, is it's like, it's obvious Trump's not going to go down and just be like, fair and square, man, you won. Like, no one believes that.
No.
So,
yeah.
He's going to pump out propaganda, and who's going to have his back? I I don't know if the army, military comes in at that point. I don't know what the sequence of events are, and it annoys the hell out of me that I even have to think through this scenario because of Donald Trump. I mean, it's so insane, man.
But he's either gonna win or this is gonna happen. Like I just don't. Those are the only two paths. I don't see him being like peacefully handing over the keys.
Yeah,
he could win straight up. I mean,
Yeah.
that's certainly possible.
Yeah,
but
that's very likely. A lot of scenarios. So I mean, yeah, dude, I don't know. I'm not someone who's ever been a conspiracy theorist type person or like the doomsday type individual. I haven't been, but I know the conservative mentality about why the Second Amendment exists. It's to stop a tyrannical government, and I know that a large portion of that type of sect of people is very much in Donald Trump's corner and pretty much eats up whatever he says. And so it doesn't take much for me to think that there's a segment of the Second Amendment supporting people, which, believe me, I'm not actually. I'm more conservative in my leanings towards the Second Amendment, but there's a segment of those people I've interacted with and seen that would drop their jobs in a moment to go defend the White House from the socialist takeover. It's freaking crazy, man.
They stop driving their trucks and go to Washington to defend the socialist takeover.
And it would be as patriotic as the Revolutionary War in their mind, man. It's just insane. Like,
it's just the people that vote for Trump, that vote against their self-interest economically, right, baffles me still. I mean, the bait and switch that the Republican Party has just pulled off for so many decades is just outstanding.
It's because they stick to the message, though, honestly.
They do. And they're better at winning. They cheat,
way
but they're better.
And the Democrats, they're just not very... I don't know. In my opinion, a lot of Democrats come across too like sanctimonious and holier than thou. Like they just come across that way, like we're the party of principles. And it's like, no, you got a lot of skeletons in your closet. Calm down, like don't act like you're the goody two shoe over here and it's you versus Satan. Like there's a lot of reasons that people are going to Bernie and they're going to Trump because they hate the Democratic and Republican establishment that much. And I don't think people understand why that is very well.
No, I agree with that. And I think this comes back, like the parallels between 2016, 2015, and 2019, 2020.
Sure.
Trump comes in outsider, not really a Republican, so to speak, and he just in 3 or 4 years has monopolized the party. Bernie Sanders, not technically a Democrat, coming over, trying to take over the party, and also a populist in the same vein as Trump to that regard, appealing to like the same idea of the same people with similar problems, I guess I'll put it that way. And
exactly.
So that's the only path I can really see coming out of this is we swing hard for Trump and then we swing back towards Bernie.
Yeah, dude, that's the most polarizing swing ever, man. It's gonna be weird. I don't know what's gonna happen. Honestly, it's weird because my opinion is Bernie would beat Trump. Personally, I might be a little optimistic here, but it is. I don't know what happens after he wins unless it's a landslide victory. I don't know, dude. It's weird. It's so weird.
Yeah.
And real quick about the impeachment thing before we move on. Did you hear? I think it was yesterday that Trump fired Colonel Vindman and Gordon Sondland, the two witnesses that gave him most trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who's stopping?
No one calls that out.
No, and he also was like, if I didn't fire Comey, I wouldn't be president right now, James Comey. This is the obstruction of justice.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because James Comey's a part of the swamp.
It's outstanding.
Dude, I'll be honest with you. I feel like I never realized the effect that like a cultish following could have. So like how quickly that could be just developed. It blows my mind because so much of what he does is so clearly wrong, and no one even bats an eyelash at it. It's just like whatever. It's just Trump being Trump. He says mean things on Twitter, whatever. At least the country's great. It's like, wait, what? Like, yeah. So I think he wins. We're phenomenal right now, baby. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I don't have too much more about the impeachment other than it was known from the beginning that if Democrats want to go down this route, it wouldn't end in him being removed, and it would increase his approval rating. I think anyone that was paying any attention knew that was the outcome, so not a surprise to me.
Yep, and like I said, he's full force.
Yeah, he is too, man. He feels invincible because he, in large part, has been.
Yep.
It's crazy.
So,
what's next?
the debate, I think.
Oh yeah, last night.
That happened last night, and yeah. So, who puts a debate on Friday night?
No
The
joke.
Democratic Party.
Yeah, Lee texted me. He's like, "Hey, where's this debate at?" I was like, "Dude, it's not even worth watching. Don't worry about it."
Oh, on his flip phone.
Yeah, well, I think he was trying to probably watch it on his tablet or something. I don't know. Yeah.
No, dude, if the flip phone's fine. I got a tablet. It's fine.
Yeah. He talks that tablet up though. He's like, "This tablet's dope, man."
Yeah, whatever. He's also. We'll talk about Lee Byers later.
Yeah.
So contentious.
Yeah, very much more aggressive this time around. So I mean, Biden came out like an angry / dead. It was kind of a weird look, but I mean, he kept swinging, man.
Dude, he talks and he's just like, you can see the train. You can see him lose it in the middle of talking.
I said the same thing last night. I was just like, it's like Biden starts down one path, moves to another one, then forgets that one and moves to a third one, and then somehow ends up on a fourth one that kind of ties back to the first one, but you're still confused how we got there in the first place.
Yes.
Like, it's the thing.
Like, you see him, you're like, oh, this is a good point, and it's gone.
Oh man, I think Biden used to be a lot better. Like on previous debates, if you watch him, he's a lot more sharp and on. I mean, it's just the age. I mean, I don't want to make fun of him for that. I mean, but it is funny in the sense that it's just like, man, I don't know why this guy's pulling so high. He doesn't seem like he has a lot of articulative ability that you would kind of want going up against Donald Trump. Like I don't know. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah, that's just Trump would just destroy him. I mean,
I totally agree.
And it's so like it's weird that we've been making these points for months and months now, and it's like coming to fruition.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's just like this is.
That's what I don't get though. Is it's like me and you are just people who like, I won't say casually follow politics because we're pretty involved with following it, but it's like the writing is on the wall so clearly for people that don't have money invested in it or special interests invested in it. You're just kind of observing how stuff works. It's like, well, obviously this guy would get destroyed. And then you just kind of see stuff we're saying. I mean, I would say in large part, a lot of the stuff we've said about impeachment, Joe Biden, polling, I'd say 8 out of 10 times we've been shown to be pretty accurate at this point. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I hope we're wrong about what happens if Trump loses. But
I think to be wrong about that point. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, this debate kind of segues back into the primary race now. But it's like I think my prediction for New Hampshire would be kind of a similar outcome to Iowa, to be honest. Maybe Elizabeth is a little better. It's closer to Massachusetts or northeastern. But similar electorate, a little more educated.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I could see helping Pete and Elizabeth and hurting Klobuchar and Biden.
Yeah, that's true. No, I the way I see New Hampshire coming up, and they're voting on Tuesday, and we should know on Tuesday, thankfully. But the way I see it coming is you have Bernie coming out. You know, I actually think he's going to win a comfortable win, like 3 to 5 points personally, because he just has a stronger base versus Pete Buttigieg's most recent surge, which kind of usually falls. But Buttigieg will definitely second, and then it'll be Warren, then Biden. So it's probably a repeat of Iowa in some ways, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I don't know if that gives us more clarity or not. I guess it depends.
It just means it's bad for Biden. It's bad for Biden. That's all it means.
That's true. He's really banking on South Carolina.
Which, I mean, honestly, like, what a sad showing for the former vice president to win one of the first 4 states and just hoping to God you win the 4th state out of all of them. I mean, it's just kind of weird. It's bad. It's bad.
I just don't see. I think his supporters are either people, older Democrats who have been around, or people who are just really scared of Trump and don't want to step out on that progressive limb. Because if you're moderate. Think about it. You really have 3 moderate choices, right? Biden, Amy, and Pete. Yeah. If I was a moderate, I'd probably choose Pete just because he's very intelligent and can raise a lot of money. Yeah, Klobuchar is just this Midwestern senator. Why would you choose Biden? You know what I mean? Because you're scared. Pete's gay. I understand that's a factor. It's not for me, but politically, yes. Yeah. But I just don't see why you support Biden. There's other people who have the same ideology.
Because in my mind, there's no way Pete can actually win. So I like if all things were fair, I would say yeah, Pete would probably be my choice from a if I was a moderate because he seems to be the one that could lead moving
Yeah.
forward in a more controllable way that I would like be able to get behind. Whereas Biden, it's just kind of like I can't confidently get behind Biden. So
Yes.
it is weird if you're a moderate who you'd want to back. I don't know.
He just feels presidential. You know what I mean? It's not, you
Yeah,
can't account for that.
yeah,
But
yeah. He
he'd
comes.
out debate Trump.
Yeah, he would out debate Trump, but I'm telling you, man, the fact that he's gay is going to be a huge holdback. The African American community, I don't ever see them getting behind him in large part. I don't see young people really getting behind this guy because honestly, he's kind of a slimy guy when it comes to policy issues. He talks presidential, but he is the flip like has flip flopped on every major issue that he stands for now. He didn't believe that within the last like 24 months or recent history, I should say. I mean, he has a tweet like 18 months ago, and I think they brought it up in the debate last night actually, or Amy did. Amy did. Go Amy. Where he's like mocking people that says he's not for Medicare for all. So get this, and this stuff boils my blood because I know this stuff. Is he tweeted out about 18 months ago saying, I henceforth, moving forward for the ages to come, and kind of made a joke about it, will always be for Medicare for all. That is the policy I will be for. And he actually, because he's really intelligent, he went on to some, I forget what the news agency was, but he was explaining how Medicare for all is the compromise. And that something like the UK, they have national healthcare service. That's the extreme potentially, but Medicare for all is the actual compromise. And now he's touting it like Bernie Sanders is being so divisive with Medicare for all when he was just advocating for it pretty hardcore and intelligently within the last 12 to 24 months. So that to me says
I know.
this guy doesn't have principles. He's just very politically savvy, but I don't care. I don't know. I don't like Pete at all.
But that comes back to it. I mean, we're in our lanes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're in our lanes. I think
Yeah.
we've talked about this. I mean, I'm going to vote for whoever the nominee is at the end of the day in November. I think it's going to be Bernie anyway, so that I might not be forced into that situation where I have to, hold my nose like in 2016. But
yeah,
I just don't see the progressives. I should say Bernie supporters. I just don't see them all making that sacrifice. And maybe there's something to that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been hard for me to kind of reason through that for me because there's a couple different ways to view your vote. I mean, if you only vote for people that you actually believe in their message and it's not a vote against the other guy, it's like a vote for a candidate, then I respect that personally. I think that that's actually a good way to vote in a lot of ways. But I see the argument of like, look, Donald Trump is so toxic and he's so divisive and his policies are so bad that we need to beat him at all costs. But I just can't get myself to be that type of individual because I see a lot of shady stuff on the Democrat side as well, and I don't want to endorse or have a part of any of that. And so I have a hard time backing a slime ball to beat a bigger slime ball, and that's where I end up coming at.
Yeah, I think that's it. Now, but what we would agree that all the top four or even the top five, so Bernie, Pete, Klobuchar, Biden, and Elizabeth are all better than. I would say that.
So here's the thing. This is the way I view stuff. I look at policies I support. And so none of the Klobuchar, Biden, Buttigieg, none of them support the policies I support as well as Trump doesn't. So when you say they're better, it's like, I mean, they're better in the sense that they're like not as destructive as Trump has been for sure. I get that argument, but in terms of like items I support, no, they're not better because they still don't support the items I support and they actually mock those items. So I don't like that. But I mean, from a less destructive standpoint, sure, yeah, you could make that argument.
But which candidate gets you closer, right? If it's, God, I don't know. I think this argument is moot because I really do think the nominee is going to be Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, but I mean, I get your point.
Say it's Mayor Pete. And it's Pete and Trump. Then what do you do? But see, here's the problem is that like there's millions, tens of millions of people that feel this way that, well, if this candidate doesn't support my policies, why am I going to vote? And that's something that the Democratic Party just hasn't figured out, I guess, or think they can overcome it easily, even though they just learned this lesson 4 years ago.
Yeah. So this is how I view things. I view things more long term, and I want long term the Democratic Party to put up candidates that the people actually want. I don't want to constantly have people being like, I guess I'll hold my breath and vote for this person. And the only way you get to that point, in my opinion, is if voters don't turn out in mass for whoever the Democratic establishment push up as a nominee, and then the one time they get the candidate that the people want, there's a mass turnout. So over time, you start to get like, oh shit, maybe we shouldn't back all these terrible people all the time because people aren't turning out for them. So I'm okay going like, no, I'm not going to vote for this guy as a matter of long term. Maybe we'll get better candidates when you realize the voter turnout is higher for your less moderate type of candidates. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm much more progressive than moderate, so I'm obviously viewing it through a very different lens. But
I
yeah,
think push would have to come to shove.
yeah,
I mean, it's so far away, but
yeah,
that's why I can see the Democratic Party losing this. I mean,
100%.
they
But
messed it up
they
before.
deserve. To me, you deserve to lose if you're pushing clearly flawed candidates to the finish line. You deserve to lose. Screw you. Donald Trump
Very
sucks, and you're
popular
putting.
nominee.
Yeah, like by every metric that you would measure, if someone has the will of the people behind them, it's Bernie. By any metric you want to go by.
Yes.
And for the Democratic establishment not to be getting behind him is a scandal in and of itself, in my opinion. For Hillary Clinton to keep coming out and saying no one likes
Oh
him,
yeah, we
he
didn't
can't
talk
get
about
anything
that.
done. She came out again,
I know, twice.
dude, and she's so
Go
tired
away.
because this is what's so irritating to me. If I'm correct, and you can correct me on this, but I'm pretty sure when Obama beat her the first time, she came out and campaigned for him like under 10 times. It was like very, very minimal that she advocated for people to come out and vote for him. Whereas
Yeah.
Bernie came out like 35 times for her, but she's still acting like this sanctimonious, self-righteous, oh, I only lost because of other people's fault. And dude, I can't stand that
So
attitude.
that's the things like Bernie recognized this. I don't want to say the DNC stole it from him, but they certainly rigged it in her
Tempted.
favor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, attempted to. I mean, states voted, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
But
sure.
what did he do at the convention? He endorses her immediately, and then he campaigns for her all of that fall.
Yeah,
Like he's on the
exactly.
trail for her, and now she's saying this. Like he did everything he could to help you win.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
the reason you. And Obama made her Secretary of State.
Yeah. It's like, why are you so sour at other people all the time? Like, you lost to Donald Trump because you chose the wrong issues to run on and you assumed you had it in the bag because you thought, yeah, I don't want to go on too much of a rant, but
No,
it's just,
I know.
it's annoying to me. Like, out of principle, it's very hard for me to get behind any Democratic establishment candidate because I just find so many of them constantly having policy issues I don't agree with, but they're also way more shady than they let on, but they try to act like they're not. And there's so many issues that I have on that.
I will say the two. So Pete and Biden aren't as disliked as Hillary. That may
That's true.
change, but at this
That's
point,
true.
they're not as disliked.
That's very
I don't
true.
think people. You don't like. I don't think Joe Biden's corrupt. Like I don't. That's a hard narrative to sow, as opposed to
Um,
Hillary.
I definitely think
Harder.
Joe Biden has. I think Joe Biden, yeah, harder for sure, definitely harder. But I think it's not that hard to make the case that Joe Biden has intentionally looked the other way as his family gets rich off his name, and maybe even tried to set up some back channel things for people. But I mean, I don't know, man. If that's the worst of his stuff, like I don't know. I don't know. I just don't like Joe Biden's policies. That's what I get behind. I don't think he has a vision. I think his only solution is to restore the soul of America, which what the hell does that mean?
Restore the soul. Yeah.
Let me know when you find the soul in a cave that you can restore.
But
So
that's
I don't.
like, do you want? This is his argument. We're going to go back to number one. He has two arguments. We're better than Trump, which are we? And number two, we're going to go back to the way it was
Yeah,
before 2016.
which is what brought Trump into the picture in the first place.
Right. It's like it wasn't. It's worse now, but like
Yeah.
Trump didn't start this. You know what I mean? He
Well,
didn't,
that's what Andrew Yang said on the debate stage, which
yeah.
is why I like Andrew Yang. He's like, look, we make a mistake to constantly obsess over Donald Trump being the cause of all our problems. There were problems before it. Donald Trump just promised to solve them, and he was wrong that he was going to solve them, but at least he identified the problems. And to me, the Biden type of individual in that sect obsesses way too much over Trump. They don't have any ideas to get us out of the mess we got into. They just want to beat Donald Trump, and that's it. And that to me is such a
Yes.
lame message.
And where does that get? Then what? But again,
Yeah.
are we better than Donald Trump? Me.
Yeah, dude, honestly, I
He's
don't
our leader.
Me and my wife were just talking about this. Like, for better or for worse, Donald Trump encapsulates a lot of the American persona, like the United States persona.
Yeah.
Donald Trump encapsulates a lot of
Just
it.
this angry, fat white guy just being racist and just kind of has some money, but acts like, he earned it. And it's just absurd.
Dude, I don't know. It's weird. A lot of people really love him. And I mean, I don't know. I think one of the reasons I like Bernie is because he's honest about the corruption on both sides. A lot of the systemic issues that are there because Democrats and Republicans want it to be there. And I like Bernie that he calls all that out. And I think that too many people call Trump out for a lot of his bullshit and they turn a blind eye to what the Democrats do. And that's why a lot of Republicans got angry, is because they can see that. And so they said, look, I don't care if our guy's openly corrupt. You pretend not to be corrupt while you're corrupt behind the scenes. Which one would you rather choose? A con man that's easily discernibly being a con man, or someone that pretends they're not a con man and do stuff behind the scenes? I mean,
right.
I mean, I'm not saying that's the right way to look at it. I'm just saying, that's how they viewed it.
Well,
to that point, though, what you were going to say, you said lesser of two evils, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about this. So lesser of two evils means, in my mind, both people are evil. One's just less evil, right?
Yes, but I'm using it loosely.
Yeah. By evil, I just mean they have a lot of cons, right?
Yes.
But this is what's interesting to me, and this is why I think people use it as a cop-out. If you go to the average Donald Trump supporter and you say, hey, list me three issues you have with Donald Trump. They can't even get to issue number one. They don't think he's a lesser of two evils. They think he's a God versus Satan. There's not it's like a cop-out your average voter uses to go, I had to hold my breath and he's the lesser of two evils. It's like, wait a second. What do you actually have a problem with Donald Trump? Because honestly, most Republicans love Donald Trump. I mean, they adore him for what he does. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but it wasn't this way. I mean, he just took it over in his style. And then you hear, this is what I hate. The senator from Ohio, Sherrod Brown. He wrote an op-ed in the New York Times, and it's like, Republicans privately hate Trump. Like, I'm so sick of hearing that.
The Democrats want that to be true.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it is true, but does it matter?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all, because none of them are standing
up. In private, Republicans say they don't like Trump and they think he's guilty.
Oh, they're fuming.
Go fucking vote guilty. Like, you know what I mean?
All these secret Republicans hate Trump every time they vote him and defend him, but they secretly hate him.
Like, I just he gave out Lindsey Graham's cell phone number, and Lindsey Graham licks his shoes still. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Dude, I mean, if you look at Lindsey Graham's tweets about him, he's a con man and a sexist and all this stuff. And
Ted Cruz,
Party, yeah,
Lion Ted,
yeah,
Mitt Romney, I was listening to an interview with Mitt Romney. And he's like, yeah, he's guilty of this, but I still support all his policies, and I voted for him. And like, what?
Dude, I'm telling you, man, it's like sports. It's like sports with allowing people to cheat. It's not about principles. It's about winning, and that
it really is.
It's about winning.
It is about winning.
Period.
And that's I mean, this is our country, right? This is your team.
Yeah. And
you win. The problem, I think, is that the way it's set up with the Electoral College and gerrymandering, and I could even argue how senators work.
Yeah.
Like, it's rigged for Republicans, where the minority can be in power.
Yeah. Yeah. It is really weird. It is really, really weird.
Is that a democracy? Maybe that's another podcast.
That is another podcast.
But is it? Yeah. Think about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, and we weren't, I mean, the founding fathers didn't want us to be a democracy, like one person, one vote, purely anyway. They wanted us to have some kind of counterbalance to the masses kind of coming tyrannical. But I mean, I think we went the other way, where the minority can be tyrannical now, and that's just stupid as hell.
Right. And now we're in this situation.
Yeah. So.
Well, I feel terrible after this.
Yeah. I think Donald Trump's chances of winning are about 80% right now, to be honest with you. So we'll see what happens.
Yep. Even if Bernie is the nominee, I mean, there's still certainly a path for Trump to win.
Oh, big time. Believe me. I think Bernie wins, but I mean, I'm kind of tongue in cheek. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
We're screwed.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So, hey, the more fires that are blown up in the political world, the more we can do our podcast. So I guess it's a good thing. We're making a lot of money off this.
Yeah, we are making a lot of money off. I quit my job.
Yeah, I know. That Iowa Brewing Company just endorsed us, or
Yeah,
we
they're
endorsed them.
sponsoring
They
us.
paid us. They sponsored us. There you go. Yeah.
Actually, that'd be pretty nice to get sponsored for beer. I'm gonna
For
work on
beer.
that.
Damn, we need to be better at this AA meeting aspect. Maybe we should talk
Yeah,
30
I
minutes about
know.
politics.
I can do that.
All right, man. I don't got anything else unless you do.
No, I've exhausted myself.
Yeah, same. This is a busy week. There's like 8 different things
Yeah,
that happen.
and it's gonna get worse.
Yeah. New Hampshire, Tuesday. Go out and vote
Yeah,
from my
can't
mini
wait.
list from Hampshire.
Go vote for Bernie Sanders. Yeah.
All right, man.
I